Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about touch-ups and how to fix them. So I know we've done a couple of different videos on touch-ups, but we haven't done one where you actually re-dip the part just in that certain spot. Sometimes it's not going to be possible because, like with a carbon fiber, you're never going to get your lines exactly lined up right, but sometimes it can be possible. And so what we wanted to do is we've got a part here that has a blowout from whenever we was dipping it the first time. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to pretty much cover this thing up. We're going to get everything ready to go on it, and then we're going to actually dip just this one portion right around in here. And so like a lot of these in here, we can go ahead and touch up using our normal methods, not a big deal. But the biggest issue is right in this area right here. And so I just mainly need to touch that up so then it's not as noticeable. So whenever the customer sees it, they just see more of just camo all over the entire thing like this, instead of this big old white spot that's sticking out like a sore thumb. So the biggest thing is that you've got to make sure that you follow the edges and the curves and that you have some type of overlap. So if you can hide it on a body line, that's great. If not, then sometimes the print will hide it by itself. And so what we've done is we've taken our blue tape here and we've ripped it into these little bitty just angles and areas that have these tears in it. And so that will give us not a straight line, but it'll give us more of a wave, as well as to help hide and blend some of the pattern that we're going to put right back over this. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take and get this right here, and we're just going to lay this just like this. And so then once I have that laid, I'm just going to set it just like that, and then I'm going to take this right here and maybe even set this just like that. And so I've got some that's covered up right here. I've got some that's covered up right here, and then I've also got some that's still sticking out right there. And so by having it to where it's cut like this right here in torn pieces, it prevents you from seeing it from just a regular, just a big square if we was to do that. And so what I'm doing here is I've already tore this just kind of the way that we need it. And so now whenever I go to dip it, this is the spot that I'm going to be dipping. And so now what I can do is I can actually take and I'm going to get paper and cover up all of this, and then only cover just this one spot. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab some paper and then cover it, and then lay out some more film, dip it, and then pull it off, show you guys how it looks, and kind of show you how you can actually do a small single dip just to kind of touch up sometimes on certain pieces. So stay tuned. Alright, so what I've got here is I've just got a piece of paper here. Of course, it's way bigger than the part. And so what we've done is we've just pretty much just cut a hole in it right through there. And all I'm going to do is simply just take the tape, now that I've got all of this here, and cover all of these areas where the dip may go around onto the part or something like that. So it doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be perfect. The main thing is that you're just covering the part, and then now the paper will wrap around everything else. We can tuck that down inside there, and so now whenever we go to dip it, we can actually dip it just like that, and then we're ready to go. So now that we have that laid out there, we'll grab our film and get started with it. So in this case, this is actually a good idea to where if you did have any excess film from dipping or leftovers or anything like that, this is where it would really come in handy at. Now again, it's not something that will happen all the time, or that, that you'll need to keep just tons of film laying around, but sometimes it does happen like that, where a blowout will happen, and so then we can come back in and try to fix it. Now, one thing is that I had it where the tree was going somewhere in this area right here, and so I actually have a tree. I don't know if y'all remembered or not, but there was a tree going right through here. And so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to mimic to where, and I may have to cut out the middle section of this, but I'm going to try to dip it to where it's more in just like just more of a regular area like this, to where it has something on it, but it's not like defined, because I don't want a tree going here and then it stops and then another tree starts right there and it just doesn't look quite right. So I'm actually going to cut out this section right in here and dip this in this section right here. And so that way it looks more abstract and it looks like it goes more with the actual pattern itself instead of putting a direct tree or a leaf right there, and then of course the leaf just cuts off, so then it's a lot more noticeable. So let's go ahead, we'll cut this out here. Alright, so again, I've got way more than what I need, but that's not a problem. We're going to take this, we're just going to tape two sides of it here, just to prevent it from rolling. And then we'll go ahead and cut off our excess. And then we'll set it down in the water right where we're going to want to put the touch-up at. So in this case it's going to be right here, so we'll go ahead and get this in the water. We'll start our timer and we'll pull our dividers in and get everything ready to start dipping. So again, in this case, sometimes you can go ahead and actually lay out enough film to redip the whole thing, because sometimes if it's in a weird spot like right in the middle of a part or something like that, you may actually have to just cut another piece of film that big. But in that case, sometimes it may be easier just to go ahead and re-base coat it and redip it. And so in that case, that's going to be a personal preference on whether you think that it's going to be necessary to redip it or to try to touch it up. So again, in a touch up like this, it is going to be noticeable, there's no question about that, but hopefully it will help blend and pretty much blend together and not make it so apparent that there was actually a spot there to begin with. And so that's the biggest thing that you're going to have to see, is that number one, what film are you working with, and number two, is it going to be in a noticeable spot that a customer will see, or are you just going to have to redip it because of it's either a carbon or it's a really hard pattern that you can't do like this, but in some cases you can. So we got about 10 seconds left. I'm going to grab some gloves on and then we'll get started. Alright, so we've got 90 seconds on the clock, and so again on this case, one pass with activator, and then we'll take our part and go ahead and dip it. So alright, so I've got my part right here, and so I'm mainly going for this little leaf section that's right around in here. Everything's glassed out, everything looks good, and so mainly all I'm doing is just going down about that far and then pulling it right back out. And so again, that's all I'm really going for, is just that one section right there. And so now we can actually take this whole piece here and pull it out just like that. And so now we'll set that down. Now we can take our tape off of it here. Put that down there. Take that off there. And so now, whenever you look at it, we can come back in. We're going to come back in and do a little bit more touch up on this. We're going to darken this in, mainly to help blend this in from that dark area right in here back down into this green area. But the biggest thing is that if you're noticing and you're looking at it, it doesn't stand out like a white spot like a sore thumb. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get this touched up, show you guys what it looks like after the touch up, and also what it looked like before, so that way you can see the difference. So again, something very simple, very quick. You saw how quickly we done it. Sometimes doing a double dip like this, or even just a partial dip like that, will really help out. Other times you definitely need to redo it. So we're going to go ahead, rinse this off, and do some touch-ups on it, so stay tuned. Alright, so we've got everything touched up, we got everything ready to go. It came out really good. I think the customer's really going to love it, and they're never even going to know that anything was actually ever touched up or re-dipped again in certain little spots like that. So you can actually come in here and see this was the spot that we had right in here. And so remember, we had this tree going down right here, and then we had dipped this one spot. And so what we done was we just came back in and we followed this black that was right in here, kind of shaded it a little bit, and then shaded a little bit down in here, and then pretty much made it to where now everything looks a little bit more shaded, but everything looks exactly the way that it's supposed to. And now you pretty much have a complete camouflage magazine over the entire thing. So if you ever do run into a situation where one little spot blew out or something like that, and you want to try to fix it, that is a good way. Now again, it's going to be personal preference on whether it's going to be a complete redo, repaint it, redip it, or can you touch up this one little spot. That's going to be something you're going to have to figure out on your own, but hopefully this video will help you in getting that done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I know it was short and sweet, but it is something that you can definitely use on an everyday basis if you do have parts that sometimes blow out or things like that. So again, if you enjoyed the video, definitely give us a thumbs up. We'd love for you to do that. And also subscribe to us. We're here doing weekly videos every day, and we'd love for you guys to subscribe and get them in your inbox or through YouTube all the time. And if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you on new videos or questions about these videos that we do or anything like that. So I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and we're making hydrographics great again. We'll see you guys next week.